Nearly 6 years ago, I wrote a review for Ever17 to commemorate its 17th anniversary. It was a fun little joke review where I wanted to show some of my love for a game that wasn't ever going to be released in the West. Developed by Kid and released originally back in 2002 with a very limited release from the now extremely defunct Hirameki International, who got it to the West in 2005, with a mangled but serviceable translation for the time, and masterminded by Kotaro Uchikoshi of 2Kyo Games, this was a title that was the second in the Infinity series of visual novels that would be a stepping stone towards games much more acclaimed in the West, like 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, and Steins Gate. Without Ever17, these two flat out wouldn't exist. Eventually, Kid went bust in 2006 and the rights to their properties went all over the place. Ever17 was re-released on phones and the PlayStation Portable and even remade in 3D for the Xbox 360 in 2011, seemingly as a sort of test for Mages' next 3D visual novel that will release next year, Robotics Notes. Given how long Mages games have taken to be released in English, there was little hope for an English release of Ever17. But then Spike Chunsoft acquired the rights to publish all of their titles in the West, and got their entire main catalogue out. And then they released the new Memories Off game in English. And then Mages announced the HD re-releases of Never 7 and Ever17, the first since 2011? And now I have in my possession an official copy of a game I never thought I'd see. Let's dive in.
こんなところで何やってんですか、ナッキ先輩。それはこっちのセリフだってば。マヨはなんだってこんなところにいるのよ。サイレンが鳴ったかなと思ったら急にエレベーターが止まっちゃって。
Ever17 takes place in the distant future of 2017, following the viewpoints of two characters who have arrived at a theme park based entirely underwater called Lemieux. One of our protagonists, Takeshi, went with his friends and he's been split up from them. As he searches for his friends throughout the park, he ends up running into our other protagonist, a kid suffering from a serious case of amnesia. The two dramatically pass each other by as they meet some people who may or may not be helpful to their goals, before they're all interrupted when an explosion rocks the facility and they both find themselves trapped in the slowly flooding facility. Stuck alongside the duo are the helpful park employees Sora and Yu, a cold and distrustful girl named Sugumi, Yu's bestie and super hacker Sarah, and the extremely happy-go-lucky Coco. The group eventually discover they have an estimated 119 hours to find a way out of the slowly filling theme park before it implodes. This is a route-focused visual novel. Every now and then you are presented with a choice that may impact the immediate scene, and down the track impact the course of the ending. Ever17's unique, for the time, catch is the multi-protagonist setup. At the very beginning of the game, you choose whose actual choices you'll be influencing. As a game by Uchikoshi Nakazawa, both Takeshi and the kid are full of curious intricacies, and their choices and reactions to them could both give you a lot to analyze. They're the foundations that the heroines are built upon, then. Sugumi and Sora work so well because their interactions come into conflict with Takeshi's boundless optimism in dire straits. Sarah's attempts to be a normal girl fumble, in a positive way, when the kid has a mysterious amnesia backstory and he doesn't even know what normal is in the first place. As you clear the routes and try to find out the best course of action to escape, you'll discover more and more about the cast and new variations on existing paths unfold. Takeshi Arbo's atmospheric soundtrack does wonders to sell the ethereal atmosphere. I would highly recommend alternating playable characters as you play through the routes, because otherwise you may find a bit too much overlap in what counts as unread dialogue on one character's path. The very end of the game is highly worth it, as Ever17 contains a phenomenal final route and is extremely enjoyable when every little detail comes together to create its brilliant finish line. Someone with a keen eye and has played a fan translation of the original Ever17 will notice some of those details I mentioned aren't the same. They also might have noticed Sugumi with a different outfit. This version of Ever17 is not actually the original version. It's a re-release of Mage's Xbox 360 script, which reworked the script of the original game, consolidating a few scenes, shortening the overall length, and making changes in an attempt to improve it. This comes across with a redesigned Lemieux to be more traditionally futuristic, and also giving Sugumi an extra change of clothes. That version of the game was in 3D, so these Tsugumi sprites with the new outfit are completely new. I don't know if I like the outfit though, it feels almost out of character on her. The changes are also a mixed bag. Some, like the new submarine plotline, greatly improve the pacing and general tone. One issue with the original is it was often felt like the cast couldn't really do anything to solve their predicament, and then suddenly towards the end they can. With this version of the script, the cast feels much more active. It's a general positive with no downsides. However, we then get changes such as Sarah getting a dramatic past and a whole assortment of new content for her route, which, whilst really good, in the original game, Sarah was an intentionally more normal girl for the intention of contrasting everyone else, especially Coco, who all had some sort of important secret. One scene towards the end is redone, and it's an excellent script, but then the original version of this scene gave a character some more important screen time that's now no longer there, and it had a clear influence from the movie Frequency, which had just come out in Japan at the time. Whilst the end result is unequivocally a good thing, I can't help but compare it to the old thing, especially since these changes are not the work of the original authors. There's also some additional content, a bonus post-game epilogue that answers questions that simply did not need to be answered by someone else, feeling as though it betrays some of the essence of the original, especially given how intentionally open-ended certain things are. It is optional though, so you can just kind of go, why, and ignore it. At the end of the day, whilst I can be a bit annoyed we don't have the original version, Ever17 is Ever17. It's a fantastic story that I so very much enjoyed reading again, has some historical weight for the medium, and I'm so very happy I can hold a copy in my hands. It's a very easy pickup and easy to recommend. I just hope Remember 11 is coming soon. Noisy Pixel is giving Ever17 the Out of Infinity an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group dedicated to bringing you guys the best news reviews, previews, and more. Please stick around and subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell to stay up to date of our future content. And also let us know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see come west. Wow, I'm on a murder mouth spree right now.
Noisy Pixel.